There are winners and winners. One of the great winners in the business software side of things, actually the biggest winner of all, is SAP, the world's largest software company, and their CEO is Bill McDermott. Bill has just written a book about his life and his experiences at SAP called Winner's Dream. Bill, welcome to Techonomy.
Thank you, Andrew.
Bill, the book is subtitled A Journey from Corner Store to Corner Office.
Yes.
Is your story the American story, Bill?
I think my story is the underdog story in a sense, because the corner store was a young man trading in 3 part-time jobs to buy his own store for $5,500 in notes, which is another way of saying you didn't have any money, but you had an idea. And the corner office, obviously, is achieving CEO of SAP, but it's really the journey that I find interesting in the winner's dream, because like you, like me, there are many of your listeners that have had their own journey, and I like to think that the underdog can win, and that's what the story is really all about.
Bill, a lot of people out there watching, 20, 25-year-olds, perhaps even some 18-year-olds. What's the core advice in your book about becoming a winner?
You have to understand your customer. That's the #1 lesson. In the delicatessen, for example, my competition, while they were much bigger than me, they didn't do certain things, either because they chose not to do them or they couldn't do them. For example, there were senior citizens that wanted things delivered, or there were blue-collar workers like my dad that were rich on Friday night and broke by Sunday morning. I gave them credit. And then, of course, there were the high school kids back then. You might even remember this, Andrew. High school kids loved to play video games with those quarters. And I had to draw them past my biggest competitor to get down to my store. One day I passed by, there's 40 of them in line, only 4 in the store. I asked, why are you all outside? They said, well, they think we're going to take things. And I said, wow, why don't you follow me down to my store? You can come in 40 at a time. And to underscore the importance of focusing on that customer, a kid one day said to me, Bill, when we want good food, play video games, and get treated like an adult, we come here. And when we want to steal stuff, we go to the store down the street.
Bill, what's changed? You grew up in the 60s. America's changed dramatically. We're having this crisis of the middle class. A Bill McDermott 2.0, a kid who's just coming through. Can they still make it in America today?
Even more so. Back then, you know, the same story was out there, right? It's so hard to get ahead. It's really hard to dig yourself out of a ditch if you're stuck in a lower class family or a lower middle class or working class family. How are you ever going to get ahead? And the same formula that was applicable then is applicable now. My advice is simple. There's a great nobility in work. People get self-image, self-satisfaction, confidence and swagger from work itself. I tell the story in the book about paper routes and part-time jobs, and through every experience I had, I got a little bit more self-confidence, a little bit more belief that I could be a leader of consequence in this world someday. You gotta work. And today there's one other thing, Andrew, that I think is huge, which is social. I mean, my business then was a little corner store. Probably I could have dreamed at 16 or 17 or 18 then about creating a chain and using social media as an unbelievable tool to expand my business. That wasn't available then.
Bill, from the book, and you're certainly a remarkably self-motivated, confident man now. I'm sure you were also the same when you were younger, and that comes out in the book. But can a Bill McDermott be taught, or do they just come out of their mother's wombs as these highly motivated kids who are simply going to be winners whatever the world they come into?
Yeah, great question. I got very lucky. I had a mom that gave me the self-confidence to believe that I could do anything. I don't think any kid, including me, is born with that self-confidence. I mean, there were many times where I didn't feel like I was on top of the world. If I didn't get a good test and I went home and I had my mom tell me it was going to be okay, that I really wasn't the worst guy in the world, and there would be more difficult things that I'd have to overcome, that was very reassuring.
And for the kid who isn't lucky enough to have a family, a responsible mother or father, or ideally both, what's your advice to them?
Very important question, because you have to have a role model, and I don't know if that's going to be a teacher, it's going to be a coach, It's going to be somebody who takes a special interest in you.
Teacher, local community member, pastor, rabbi, priest, something.
Everybody needs somebody.
And how do you find that? Where do you just need to look? Because it's, to tell a 14-year-old that is hard.
It is hard. I think, first of all, it's incumbent upon the leaders who are adults to look for kids, to try to find kids, especially kids that might be down and out, might need a hand.
So we all, people like yourself, perhaps like me, we all have a responsibility to be mentors outside our family. Bill, interesting in the subject, in the subtitle of the book, From Corner Store to Corner Office, is there something slightly outdated, though, about the corner office? Didn't Intel get rid of that? I mean, there isn't a corner office at Facebook or Yahoo or Google. Is there one still at SAP?
No, you're absolutely right. It's more of a figure of speech as opposed to a real thing.
Do you have a cubicle at SAP or do you have a corner office?
We have both cubicles and corner offices. I would much rather be, depending on what location you're in, I would much rather be in a cubicle. In fact, we're building a new office in New York, which is going to be a totally open floor plan. And that's when you design new ones, it's totally open. And the ones that we already have that have corner offices, we're taking down the walls and opening up the place. We have to have a startup culture. You have to be open.
All big companies are startups then? You're all reinventing yourself?
I think so. I think you have to be. I mean, the fact of the matter is, we obviously in technology have to constantly reinvent yourself to be relevant. You constantly have to innovate and look around corners for the next big idea.
How is the old database world of SAP and Siebel and Oracle, how are they reinventing themselves? How is it reinventing itself as an industry? Is it merging with other industries?
When you think about the Internet of Things and the massive explosion of data, mobile devices, as you know, the millennial generation is the only one born into the mobile device, there's an explosion of information in the enterprise. There is only one database platform in the world that can handle all of this, and it's called HANA. It's an invention by SAP for structured, unstructured, all the social information that comes into an enterprise in one real-time, in-memory database platform. HANA is the breakthrough.
Salesforce.com, Bill, are they bothering you? Are they blowing the industry up?
I think what they have done, they deserve a lot of credit for coming up with a way to provide sales departments with pipeline and forecast and do all this simply in a cloud. So for internal customer relationship management, they did a good thing. Unfortunately for them, the world has changed so much. Now, it's all about the consumer dealing with you on that device in any channel. That channel could be the internet, it could be a call center, it could be a wholesaler or a retailer. You have to know your consumer in real time.
So you're not too worried about Salesforce.com? You don't see them as a threat?
I see them in a space that was yesterday's CRM. So we also have CRM in the cloud for the hygiene of caring for a sales department. Our vision is much broader than that. I want SAP to live to its full potential. The founders of this company based it on innovation, customer centricity, and really a happy culture. I want that to continue. That's
happy talk, Bill.
No, actually, yesterday we were rated the 10th happiest company in the world based on the employee votes.
Who's the happiest, Google?
No, actually it wasn't Google, I don't think, but they were in the top 10. But the point that I'm making is happy companies drive happy customers, and it drives a force multiplier because the young ones from universities all over the world want to work at a place that's a happy place, a place that's motivated and inspired to change the world. I think the young people today got it right. This is the next great generation because they're looking for purpose in the work, and I hope to create a company where we are the employer of choice, we give purpose, and we help the world run better and improve people's lives. That's our enduring cause.